Hi. So now we are going to continue by filling out the rest of the templates. Let's go to the editor and here I am at my editor. So I have the base HTML file open here and what I am going to be doing is opening up the rest of the HTML files and I can double click on them to open them up in new tab. And then basically all of these what we are going to be you doing is extending from the blog base dot I used this blog slash base dot html. So let's collapse this directory tree and put this line in all of this. Since we are basically going to be extending from base HTML for all of these and that's the CSS file so we don't need to put it there only in HTML. So let's start off with probably the simplest page, which is going to be our about page. So in this about page, this is just an empty template and you can really put whatever you want here. But we are going to add in it's a call to the content block that like that. So say content, block content, then end block. Okay, this is the template. And then here you can just put whatever you want just to keep things simple. We'll have an H1 heading and we'll say about this company or you can say about me depending if it's a personal blog. And then we will say thanks for checking it out with maybe you could put in a Jumbotron things, Jumbotron template of Bootstrap. But what we are going to do is copy and paste this real quick and grab this block call and now let me delete that end block and I'm also going to paste that into all the rest of the HTML to set up the actual blocks. So we will do that as well. Okay. And that's because we are going to be using that in essentially every single HTML file since that matches the navbar itself. So we'll do that in all of these. So let me go across the board and save these. And the next one I am going to work on is post list. Remember, post list is just the list of you that list out all the post. So it should be pretty simple to work with. So we are going to do is after calling blog content, I am going to create a div tag here called center stage, and that's going to allow me to kind of center these things. And also, so here in blocks, yes, I will create something as a new class called center stage here. Okay, so that is center stage where anything inside this div of center stage I will call margin left to be auto to center it as well as margin right also auto, and you could also just call it margin auto. Okay, so this is kind of just making it a little more clear that center stage is about, and hopefully the name is also pretty clear here. But we'll have that. That is not necessary. You don't need to do that. It will just kind of be offset if you don't. And what we are going to do is have a for loop with Django template. So we'll say for post in. I remember the default is post list. So whenever you are working with a list view, it's that name of that model underscore list. And then one, whenever you have the you for go to have the end for then this is the block of for statement. Another div we add here we will have this so class post in case we ever want to do anything with it, and we will say each one have a link here and this is going to be a URL here in this href tag. Okay, in fact let's make sure it is template tag the URL and it's take us to the post detail page with the pk equal to post.pk1. And essentially what this is going to do is we'll add in the template injection here of post title, and this says Okay, so if you are able to click on that post title, since it's an anchor tag, it's going to take you to that post detail where the primary key of that post detail is equal to post.pk, where post is being returned for post and post list. And then after that, let's create another div and we will give this the date class. So we may or may not use it, just kind of keeping us organized here. And then we will have a paragraph that says published on, and then we are going to have the date. So we'll say post dot published, and then I am going to use some template filters. Remember, that's basically string functions or datetime functions that are from Python, and you can use them with template injection, just like post dot published. I'm going to use data just for some formatting here. So I will say capital D M Y. Okay, and note the spacing here also. You sometimes get error if everything here is not touching together, so there is no space here. Okay. And then finally, what I am going to do is after that div, I will create one more anchor tag that links to the comment. So we'll say here URL post underscore detail. Okay. So is equal to post pk equal to post dot pk. Essentially the exact same thing we wrote there, and then I am going to say have some comments. So and then what I am going to do is inject the common count. So we'll say post the approve and underscore comments. And then what I can call of that is the kind of count attribute or count method. So if you go back to the blog post page, basically what this is saying is if I were to click where it says comments 1 or comments 2, it would take me back to the post detail page, just like clicking the title world, which kind of makes sense because if I click on comments, I probably want to see the detail page that actually has the list of those comments. And that's it for the post list page. And this is essentially our home page for the website. So we are all done with this now. So let's go ahead and pretend someone's clicked on it, which would bring them over to the post detail page. And this is going to be from a detail view. So let's get started on this one. This one's going to be probably one of the more complicated views, or at least the view that has a lot of content with it. So we are going to create that inside of this block in h1 tag, and we will give it the class. So we will give it the class equal to we'll say post title. Okay, then we will say loader. So remember, loader is that coloring class. Okay, so if you come back down here, loader, that way the actual colors change, and we'll show later on a kind of a quick fix to get everything that change color, especially the highlighting, which is essentially just coming back to the base HTML. And over here, if you go to body, you can just call class and then say loader here, which is going to add a lot of more coloring effect. Now be careful of this because you don't want to set everything to have like the background color. So make sure that this is set to color. Coming back to the post detail page after doing some changes, what I am going to do is have the heading one be the title of the post, and then what I am going to do is have this if statement that says if the post published date is this, I will say as And then I will have an end of this if statement. I'm just setting up my logic here. So what are we going to do if the post published date, meaning there is some sort of publication date, then I will create some sort of class here, that means passing date, post data, and then I am going to inject the post published date, as which means it's not published. So what we are going to do is say L and have a button here. So this button is going to be, we'll give it a class so it looks nice. We'll say button default. So this is the class, actually just one of those bootstrap classes, and what it's going to link to is a button that asks you, do you want to publish this or not, because it does not have a publish date, meaning it did not pass this if test, it has not been published yet. So what we are going to do is, if you click on that publish day button, it will take you to a URL to the post publish, where your primary key is equal to the post primary key. There we have it, and we are going to end it. So let's save that, and then after that, one once that little post title is done, you have the publish button. What we are going to do is add in a paragraph here the class equal to post content, and we will be adding these classes to the CSS file later on. Some of them we don't use, some of them we will. I always think it's good idea to kind of add in more classes than you may need, and then once you feel that the CSS and your website looks good, you can then go or move classes. But it's really helpful for organizations to have these classes here where are not you are going to use them right away, and what's going to here is going to have the post title, and then we are going to have save on it. And basically what Safe does is, since we are going to be using that medium JavaScript editor, if we select something as bold, we don't want it to show up for instance in the website looking like this bold text. So with that b text, so if I don't have safe here and I have affected it using the medium editor, it's going to look like this, including the text. If I have safe, then it's going to translate the HTML to actual look like we expect it to look. And if that does not really make sense, you can basically just take off this safe here, and they will immediately make sense as far as what I am trying to convey. And then we are going to do is call one more that says line breaks, which essentially if there is a line break, the HTML will also call a break there. And then we are going to have another statement that's going to check the user authentication or not. So we'll say if user is authenticated, we are going to do some stuff. But as always, if there is an if you are got to end if, so let's create some new lines here. So if the user is authenticated, we should probably have something, or let's say two buttons, one to edit the post and one to remove the post. So the first line is going to be an anchor tag, and we will give it a class. And the class is going to be a primary button. So button space primary, that's slash primary. And then we will see your URL post underscore edit, and we will pass in the primary key is equal to the post primary key, again just as we have done before. And then we are also going to insert inside of this icon. So let's do that. We'll use a tag for that. So we'll say this Spain tag, and we just have to give it a class. So the class we are going to say is this glyph icon. Depending how you pronounce it, it is glyph icon or anything else. So that's going to look like a little pencil. Okay. So in case you want to actually edit the post, you click on the glyph icon pencil, and then I am going to copy this, and let's do another one for removing the post. So instead of post edit, this will take you to post remove. Okay. And then I am instead of glyph icon pencil, we are going to just say remove, which is just like this cross symbol. So let that all we need to do there. Let's continue. So I am going to kind of create a separator here. Actually, I can do a horizontal break there or a horizontal row, and then what we are going to say is have a class here, and let's have a button that allows us to add comment. So we'll say this is an href tag, and so we'll say this takes you to the URL. This is add comment to post with the primary key. So being equal to the post primary key, and let's actually give this a bootstrap class. So it looks nice. We can say something like button primary clips. So if we were want to do stuff, we can add it to that. Okay. And then coming over to the right, we have add comments and post, and let's have some actual something in this link that says add a comment. So we'll save that, and then I am going to put everything else here inside of a container class. So everything that's left and basically inside of this container is going to be the list of the comments. So we'll say for comments in post comments all, and because I have this I want to end for, so let's add that in row. We'll say end for that for statement. Then after that what we are going to do is loops, do loops. Let me close that, and inside that loops what we are going to do is, so for every comment and post comment I am going to add in a break that we get a little bit of space here, and then I'm going to check if the user is authenticated or at the comment is an approved comment. Otherwise I don't really want to display it. So I'm going to say if the user is authenticated or the comments is an approved comments. So going back with that model, and since I have an if statement, it's a good idea to just take care of the end if. Right now I am going to pass in the comments create a date. So let's inject that in say comment that created underscore date. And then what I am going to do is say if not comments approved underscore comments, and I will have two buttons here. One to remove the comment, and then one to approve the comment. So I'm just going to copy and paste this, and let's use this line. So I need to end this. So here I have the end diff, and I am going to tab these in so they look a little more clear. So they are going to paste this in. So let's me give this one more here. and let's copy and paste this one more time. And then here we all have remove, but instead of post remove, it's going to be a comment remove. And instead of a post remove here, or actually we can just say this is a comments remove instead. So I will have the top one be comment remove. So comments remove PCA is the comments primary key, and then this is bend class. So that stays the same, and we can have this be instead of primary button a default button, and then the second one is going to be an approval. So instead of saying comments removal, I am going to change the say comments to prove. So comments to prove, and the need to be comments pk as well, and then the other one is going to have to be glyph icon, and you can really choose any glyph icons you want, but we'll just say okay, that's it. All right, so that's our little if statement to kind of check if everything is okay as far as what buttons we saw. And then below that I am going to actually add in the information with some paragraph text where I will say put in the actual text of the comments, pass it through safe in case they use any special HTML, and then say line breaks. So that we actually take care of new line breaks, and below that let in one more paragraph tag where this paragraph tag is going to say uh, who is posted by. So posted my, and then I am going to inject the comments author, and we can pass in as bold if we want, but that's it. And then what we can do is in between this and if and this and for have a template tag to check if something is empty, meaning if there was nothing in the post comments at all, we'll just say okay. And then it's nice easy tag call for if this is empty. What you can post in this case, we'll say no comment. Okay, so this was definitely one of the most complicated views we had to do throughout the entire project. So let's quickly go over it. And if you want to actually reference any of this, I would highly recommend that you kind of just copy and paste from the notes provided to make sure everything matches, because there is a lot of stuff we could have possibly gotten wrong here. But essentially all we are doing is we are saying okay, put in the post title, if the post has a publication date, start the post date, and then actually place it the publication date. As we are going to have a button here that says do you want to publish this, then I will take you to the post publish page. After that you have the actual post content, which you start off with just the post title. Make sure it's safe, and then have the line breaks. If the users authenticated, they are going to be able to edit the post or remove the post. So that's what this block of code is doing. Below that we are going to be able to add comments to the post, and in this case we have this container for all the comments that are linked to that post, because we have post .pk. If the user is authenticated or the comments and approved comments, we are going to show the date of creation. If the comment is not an approved comment, so I am logged in, I should still be able to see these comments, but they are not approved. I can either remove the comments or give it the um, that's has been approved. And then once that's done, we are going to show the common text safe with the line breaks, and then show who actually posted that comment. So that's actually all this post detail is going doing, and lots of code, but the idea is pretty straightforward. Okay, so thank you.